Hey everyone, Micah here with Electrek, and today we're reviewing the Ride1Up Prodigy V2, the company's most premium e-bike yet. We're talking Gates carbon belt drive, Brose mid-drive motor, quad piston hydraulic disc brakes, CVT transmission, the works. Come along with us while we check it out. I was a pretty big fan of the original Ride1Up Prodigy, so you can imagine I was excited to see what the V2 would have in store for me. I'm testing out the higher end of the two models available, meaning it's got the Gates carbon drive and the NVOLO continuously variable transmission, or CVT. There's also a 9-speed chain drive version available, which is also pretty awesome, but if you're gonna give me an option for belt drive, you better believe I'm gonna take it. But regardless of the final drivetrain, the star of the show on both models here is where the drivetrain starts, and that's with this Brose TF Sprinter motor. It's got a top speed of 28 miles per hour, making it a Class 3 e-bike, and it's got 90 Newton meters of torque, meaning you can climb hard even without a throttle, though being in the right gear certainly helps too. The Brose motor isn't just a nice mid-drive with a built-in torque sensor, which it is, and which it does have, but it also means you're getting the whole Brose ecosystem here for high-quality electronics throughout. Now I mentioned that CVT for shifting gears, and let's take a look at that. It's an NVOLO, and it uses a proprietary system to give stepless shifting, meaning there's not a set number of gears. As a CVT, there's basically infinite gears within its broad gear ratio range. I find that I really only use the upper half or so of the range, but if you've got super steep hills to climb in your area, then you can drop that gear ratio way down. When combining that with the Gates carbon belt drive, it's just a thing of beauty as a quiet, simple, clean, and basically maintenance-free drivetrain. And since this is a bike that you'll want to do double duty as both an on-road commuter and an off-road trail bike, especially thanks to that 100mm air suspension fork up front, you'll enjoy knowing that you don't have a lot of maintenance to keep up with, even when returning back from that trail ride. There's no chain to oil, and there isn't really any brake maintenance, thanks to those quad piston Tektro disc brakes, which are super punchy and make it easy to do one-finger braking if that's your style. I love hydraulic disc brakes, and when you give me quad pistons that feel oh so good, it just makes the deal even sweeter. But even if you're not on trails and you spend your whole life on the road, the Prodigy V2 is ready for that type of riding too with its included fender set, LED lighting, and rear rack. I particularly love how the taillight is integrated into the rack and makes it one less piece to get tangled at the bike rack or caught on cables. Now if you are doing only street riding, then these Maxxis tires are probably a bit of overkill, but like I said, this bike works just as well on the road as it does off. Now the V2 here did get a bit chunkier in its second version, now tipping the scales at between 58 to 61 pounds, depending on which model you go with between the step-through or the step-over frames and the different drivetrains. But if you've been around the block as much as many of us in the e-bike industry have, you're not going to be afraid of a 60-pound bike, especially since you weirdly don't really feel that weight so much while you're riding. Maybe if you're doing big jumps or something, but you're probably not doing that because this is more of a leisure, trail, and commuter bike anyway. Now on the battery side, it is a bit small at 504 watt-hours, which is slightly below average these days. But since this is a pedal assist bike, you're going to be getting a range closer to if you had a 700 or 800 watt-hour battery on a throttle bike at least. They say 30 to 50 miles of range per charge, and that's absolutely achievable among the different power levels. As I look around the bike for complaints, I'd say one of the few things I'm not a huge fan of was also one of the first things I noticed while unboxing and assembling the bike, that it uses thin skewer axles instead of thicker through axles. There's nothing wrong with skewers per se, it's just that they aren't as rugged, and thus on a bike with nicer components like this, you usually don't see skewers. But hey, if I'm saving $2,000 compared to the big names, and it means I have to have a skewer axle up front, I can handle that. Which brings us to the price now. The bike starts at $2,395 for the 9-speed chain version, or $2,695 for this belt drive CVT version. That makes it pricey when you compare it to most of Ride1Up's other bikes, but actually quite affordable compared to the bike shop level bikes that this is more competing against. If you're getting a Trek or a Specialized, you're paying $4,500 easy, or more if they've got even nicer components on them. Now, is the Prodigy V2 on the exact same level as those bikes? No, of course not. I'm not saying you're magically saving $2,000 or more here. There are some trade-offs, not everything is as high level, and you're not getting the same local sales network when you buy online. But enough of the components are high enough quality that I'm comfortable comparing the two as fairly close competitors. They're not the exact same bikes and they don't have the exact same components, but if you're saving several $1,000s, then splitting hairs just isn't going to matter that much to a lot of riders. So to sum it all up, what you're getting here is perhaps what I would say one of the best deals in the North American mid-drive e-bike market right now. You've got good components, good drivetrain, and a great value compared to much more expensive bikes that wear this same motor. Thanks for watching, everyone. We hope you enjoyed that review of the Ride1Up Prodigy V2. If you did, why don't you give it a thumbs up? And don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss any of our future electric vehicle videos. We'll see you here next time.